Wyoming has only 576,000 residents, despite being the 10th largest state in the country. When compared to a city like New York, which is arguably the most densely populated city in the United States, has a population of over 9 million people, which is 18 times more people in just one city. And we are not even comparing apples to apples here. Wyoming is a huge state, not a city, with an area of 97,813 square miles or 253,335 square kilometers to be exact. So what makes Wyoming scarce of human population? Let's find out in this episode of Stories Across. The west part of the state is mostly covered by the Rocky Mountain ranges, and the eastern part is generally a high-elevation vast expanse of flat grasslands called the High Plains. This creates a split climate condition in the state where some regions experience a semi-arid climate and some more of a continental climate, which creates greater temperature extremes. Wyoming is also windier and drier than the rest of the country, and in winters, dry, harsh winds make the winter season much more bitter. Also, a good portion of the state is covered with mountains, therefore it's nearly impossible to use that land for any establishment or agriculture. And the remaining land, because of extreme climate, is just cold and dry, filled with wild grass, which is only good for grazing animals. So whatever piece of land that is left for human establishments is limited by area. Therefore, there are no major cities in Wyoming, only 4 major population centers, where Cheyenne is the capital of Wyoming with a population of just 65,000 residents. And most of the area that is available to the state is not even completely owned by the state itself. According to the Bureau of Land Management, this map shows the ownership of federal land in the United States, and around 50% of Wyoming is owned by the federal government, which means the state cannot exercise any rights to bring in commerce and industries for state development in almost half of its land. Which means no corporation can set up their factories, warehouses, or offices here, as these lands are protected for public use only, and the land that is available for commercial purposes is mostly dominated by oil and mineral extraction companies. This leads to absence of jobs, therefore people living in other parts of the country have no reason to move to Wyoming even when there is no individual income tax. The state does not even have any corporate tax either. This is a map of state migration pattern that shows migration of working professionals from a high income tax state to a low income tax state, which clearly shows people migrating from California, New York, Illinois, and many more to the state of Texas, Arizona, Utah, and even Idaho and Montana. Idaho and Montana are of real importance here because these northern states have similar weather conditions as Wyoming, but the numbers tell a very different story. In the year 2022, 1.5% of working professionals migrated to Montana from other high-income tax states, and Idaho received a boost of 1.8% of inbound migration, whereas Wyoming had a fluctuation of only 0.3%, which means the natives did not move too much out of the state, nor a large number of people flocked to the state either. This clearly shows that no working professional wishes to relocate to Wyoming despite having zero income tax. Another reason that is stopping Wyoming from attracting people and organization to its big cowboy state is its underdeveloped urbanization. Any place attracts people and corporations in general when it has a lot to offer, which includes well-developed urban spaces, roads, transportation facilities, and job opportunities. And Wyoming as a state seems to be stuck in this negative feedback loop where no corporation is able to put up industrial and business parks, which in turn do not generate opportunities for urban development. This leads to lack of real estate and well-developed office spaces. Also, the geographical location and weather of Wyoming makes the situation even worse. So what's the future for Wyoming? As a state, Wyoming has survived all the odds since it was found in 1890. It may be subject to difficult terrain and arid climate, but it is rich in natural resources like bentonite, oil, coal, etc. Almost 40% of coal that is produced in the United States comes from Wyoming alone. Along with coal, the state has an abundance of other minerals like methane, crude oil, and uranium. These natural resources help provide mineral and gas-based industries to sustain and create job opportunities. Also, Wyoming is a beautiful U.S. state that attracts around 9 million tourists each year thanks to its famous destinations like Yellowstone and Grand Teton National Park. So in order to expand and diversify out of tourism, mineral, and gas-oriented economy, the state might have to come up with plans in finding new business opportunities in technology, manufacturing, and huge storage facilities for larger corporations. After all, it is a corporate and political tug-of-war, and only time will tell if Wyoming will ever become a population-flourishing state. This is Stories Across, and thank you for watching.